What's up, Cringe Crew?
Cringe Crew.
Cancel Crew.
Cancel Crew.
Cringe Crew, how we doing? It's Robbie.
Devin.
And Curtis.
And we want to talk to you about something that is it's a bit troubling in this modern culture thing. We're going to talk to you today about cancel culture.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you get with a generation of followers.
Well, let's start with, for those who are uninformed, let's start with what cancel culture is. And the short version is it's the mob mentality times 10.
Yeah.
It's finding out something that you find apprehensible, whether or not it's wrong is up for debate. But it's anything that is found apprehensible to the internet community that is then blown out of proportion, and thus the internet cancels that person. And I'm not saying that people don't deserve due diligence if they do something truly wrong or illegal or immoral. They definitely do deserve to be reprimanded for whatever it is that they've done that so offends the
Well, I think,
general population.
Canceling people doesn't really solve any issue. It doesn't.
No, it ruins people's personal lives. And
not only that, it doesn't explain to them what the hell they did wrong either.
Well,
and
I mean,
even on top of that, it doesn't always. Like Devin was saying before we started filming.
well, I mean, when someone is canceled, I mean, here's what happens. They're derided on the internet, usually memed, harassed. A lot of times they lose their jobs. I mean, and it generally seeps into their actual lives. If you're an entertainer and you have a private life, your life is private for the most part beyond what you share with your audience. And I do believe that line should be respected.
Yeah, but we don't live in a world like that. Once you're a celebrity, there is no real privacy any longer.
Well, most of these people that are being canceled are little more than YouTubers or,
Well, they try to cancel bigger people like Louis C.K.,
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, Ziz Azari, however you pronounce it. Yeah. They try to cancel them. Their comebacks are bigger than what they had going before.
It depends on what your level of celebrity is and where you're drawing your market from, right? Like people that are internet native suffer more from it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the reason we've been discussing this for 3 days roughly in preparation for this video. I guess it would be 3 days. It's like 4 in the morning, so like 2.5, 3 days. I don't know, whatever. Time is irrelevant. But the case I keep coming back to is a YouTuber who I actually followed for a long time named Pro Jared. And Jared was derided, belittled, attacked personally, private emails hacked, the whole nine, only to find out that the allegations levied against him were, for the most part, untrue. And before he had a chance to speak out, which he went about it the right way. Pro Jared is definitely an example of handling things in the right way in that sort of scenario. He sought legal counsel, and before he said anything, he made sure that it was safe for him to do so. But according to the internet, because that took him about 2 months, 3 months, he was automatically guilty. And as far as what was being levied against him, a lot of it had to do with sexual pictures of supposed minors. And it's really fucked up, but the man had proof to back up that he had no reason to believe that these people were not over 18. And he released a very, very, very long video. But, I mean, you can't make up time. Time is, yes, it's irrelevant, but also the loss of time is real. So time is a bit confusing. And I feel that, you know, when you're attacked like that, and your character is attacked, and it invades your personal life, and you're ousted from your job and things like that, it becomes a witch hunt. And cancel culture is very similar to the Salem witch trials. All someone has to go is, she's a witch. Except now it's, he's a pervert, or she's a cunt who lies to fans or something. And
I think you're getting to a good point. It's the the dog pile effect. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot of people that don't even know the subject that they're jumping in on, like what the details or specifics are.
Oh yeah, like if
because there are all sorts of examples. Like you remember when they were saying PewDiePie was a Nazi?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've always lived in a world where you're guilty before you're innocent. This is just it on the internet.
Yeah.
Times 1,000.
That goes to what I've been saying about the internet as a whole, is everybody's acting like the internet is the cause of all these crazy social patterns that people are getting into, and really it's just making all of these social patterns more visible because they've always been here.
I believe you, but I also believe that it's amplifying them, like, severely. Like, things that would have gotten someone derided and then forgotten about 15 years ago, even. That doesn't exist anymore. That sort of stuff doesn't go away. And going back to the same example, and there again, this is the example I have the most investment in, per se, because, you know, as someone who watched Pro Jared's videos for a long time, and followed the story. I forgot where the fuck I was going with that. But it's just not a good way to go about things. And this tiny minuscule YouTuber, this fat guy sitting on this pew with his best friends at 4 a.m, thinks that cancel culture is bullshit.
I definitely agree with the way that it manifests itself normally is totally bullshit. I can see like what it's rooted in, what it's trying to get at, but it's not the way to cause any real change.
Yeah, and
before it's a bunch of sheep following some internet wolves.
And before anything gets misconstrued in this video, we're all for women's rights. We're all for gay and trans rights. You know, we believe in basic human decency. As long as you're not hurting children or animals, I'm cool with you personally. That's my belief. I can't outwardly speak for Curtis and Devin, but having been friends with both of them for so long, I'm sure it's a similar. And also, another thing. People's marriages and relationships are not our business. Period. What someone does in the bedroom should not affect their professional lives. Unless it's something that's causing a problem in their outside life. Which, I mean, things like cheating on your wife or, you know,
or blowing cocaine up a hooker's butthole.
Those are the things that people want to know about, though.
That is true, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you're doing, let's go with an exact example. So you're a fairly well-known YouTuber. You and your wife decide to have an open marriage. Actually, this is the Pro Jared thing again. You go get a girlfriend. The internet finds out. They have a witch hunt because you cheated on your wife. You didn't cheat on your wife. It's not anybody's fucking business. And celebrity culture as a whole, which is slightly different. It's a different angle, but celebrity in a whole is a weird, awful thing.
Why do you think Eminem doesn't like it?
The cancel culture thing is like a subsect of activist culture, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. I mean, that's a lot of the extreme activists, these people with their... these are normally the people that are attacking these people are like the feminists that think that men should be wiped out, and
I don't know. It's not all just feminists and stuff, though.
No, that's just one example.
There's
out of
PETA people and all kinds of different angles.
Yeah, it's people that believe that if you're not a vegan, you deserve to be beaten to death and eaten. Things like that. Devin's reshaping a candle. You can't see it because the microphone's in the way.
It's like the court of public opinion, basically.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't really care what people think of you. You should do what makes you happy.
I think those are the people that survive it the best when the cancel culture thing affects people. Like, if you actually look at the cases, people that just were like, nah, to it all.
Well, I mean,
are the ones that tend to have.
At the end of the day, if you have, and this sounds like a vote for cancel culture, but it's really not. At the end of the day, if you're not doing anything wrong or hiding anything, it's just gonna fade away anyway. And I mean, the people that deride you, your peers that deride you, are going to have to backpedal. They're going to have to apologize and attempt to make amends, and at that point the ball's in your court. People do apologize.
Not everybody.
Not everybody. I mean, and there's anytime that some sort of negative stigma is brought against someone, it never truly goes away in the eyes of those that have brought it against you.
I think that hypervigilance is what gets me, where they'll go back on people over a decade and try to critique who they were 10 years ago as if they're the same person.
Well, I mean, that is definitely an interesting take, and I'm definitely not the same person I was 10 years ago. Hell, I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago. I mean, growth and change and all that good stuff.
I mean, I know when I was a teenager, I was a rude little asshole. I'd say shit just to piss people off.
Yeah, I was a little shitbag myself, so...
Not that I necessarily believed any of that shit that I was saying, but I knew it'd get under your skin or some shit, you know?
Yeah, a lot of times me and Curtis were being little shitbags together.
Yeah.
That was when it was really bad.
But I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah, it's all Darwinism.
Yeah.
At the end of the day...
Strongest surviving shit.
At the end of
dog
the day...
dog and shit.
What GPCC says about cancel culture is bullshit. If you did something heinous, you'll get your punishment. It's not up to us to decide.
Oh, it goes in a lot of other ways too. You know, like music, even. Some people won't listen to a band that they know in their, day to day is kind of all fucky, or whatever from their perspective.
Yeah.
But would you tell people they don't have the right to protest?
See, that's where it gets weird, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that is where it gets weird. And I mean, even taking it a bit farther, we discussed this previously before we got on camera. There's the whole impact of Dr. Bill Cosby. And do his horrible crimes erase the good he did for his community?
Yeah.
Different people have different opinions,
Or can you be responsible for both? Can you like something?
A lot of people think, Michael Jackson was innocent.
Yeah. People still love Michael Jackson, and in my mind, from the evidence that I've been presented with, he probably did it. I'll never know. I wasn't there.
I mean, he kept himself surrounded by kids, gave them everything they could possibly dream of, and then cuddled them in the bed.
That's a little fucked up, if you ask me. But people will try to fight you over MJ.
Yeah.
Like, I have a buddy, and we were discussing it one day, and you know, this is my friend. I've hung out with him. You know, I've you know, spent time at his house around his kids and his wife and his family, and he was ready to fucking throw down and beat my ass over Michael Jackson.
Damn, son.
Because I said I thought he did it. So I mean, it's a difficult thing. Cancel culture is not an easy topic, and that's part of the reason I picked it for this episode of Heart to Art.
I think, you know, you can still like the positive shit that people do. Like, you can still be into somebody's art and not gel with them as a person.
Well, I mean, everybody still likes Gary Glitter, and if you don't know what Gary Glitter is, it's that thing you hear every Sunday at a football game. No, no, no. Hey! That guy is a convicted pedophile.
If it's really that bad, I mean, Charlie almost got married before he died.
Charles Manson wrote Beach Boys songs. You like the Beach Boys, you're supporting Charles Manson.
Do you like clowns?
Yeah, that was another one we were talking about, was John Wayne Gacy.
He did a lot in his community. Other than fucking boys and burying them in his basement to keep the secret. But alas, all his good acts are erased by his horrible things he did.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, because, I mean, it's still going to leave an imprint. You do good, it leaves an imprint. You do bad, it leaves an imprint. From my perspective, it's just the imprint of the bad he did is just way larger than any good he may have caused. I mean, that's a big old fucking footprint.
Definitely.
With a little tiny handprint of good inside it.
Ted Bundy worked for a suicide prevention hotline.
There again, most serial killers have some kind of... People say that Jeffrey Dahmer was the nicest man they've ever met. His neighbors, they were in a couple documentaries a few years ago, and they said that he was the nicest man they'd ever met. And after his trial, the African American man that he murdered, one of the last ones he murdered, the family made peace with him, and they visited him up until he died. I think that's correct. I may be misspoken there, but there was a family of one of his victims that did that.
Coincidentally, one of the last serial killers to be put in population.
I think it shows we're all a mix, right, of positive and negative traits and qualities.
I mean,
like
going back to the Dr. Cosby thing, there are countless men who have raised children based on guidelines. Well, not really guidelines, but, you know, basing how they handled fatherhood based on Fatherhood by Bill Cosby. I mean, there are millions of copies of that book sold, and millions of people took it as a guide to get through fatherhood. Does, you know, him being a rapist erase that? No. I mean, do I feel that he should be, you know, glorified? Also no. I mean, it's a hard call. I mean, when someone does something really heinous and they've done something super important, it definitely puts a stigma on it and makes it harder to ingest, harder to take.
Yeah, but see, he ain't coming out to nothing hard. He's coming out to money and all that. His life is still going.
Yeah.
This is true. And I mean, what he did is not right, and that's not what I'm implying or trying to insinuate. What I'm implying is that, I mean, I guess it goes back to the footprint metaphor, because Cosby's footprint of good is fairly large. I mean, his imprint of bad is also very large, so, you know, it's one of those things where they're almost linear. It's not going to cancel it out, but I mean,
I think it comes down to this, right? You don't let people get off on shit they did wrong that's like that, right? That's like a terrible degree of
that's definitely a
influence into
fucking
other
terrible
people's
thing.
lives, fucking them up for a long time.
He definitely fucked up a bunch of people.
But you don't just get rid of, you don't just burn everything they ever did, right?
Well, I mean, Fatherhood still exists as a book, and I mean, it will for probably a very long time, because there are probably billions of copies of that book in God knows how many languages. So, I mean, that book is never going to disappear, and the impact it had on people's lives is never going to disappear.
You don't just burn everything, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that was the case, 90% of all classic rock would be gone from history.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'd like me some Jerry Lee Lewis.
He married a 15-year-old, 13-year-old.
13-year-old cousin.
And it was his cousin.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler has done deplorable things to women. Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, like
just Led Zeppelin.
Find a musical male artist that hasn't done deplorable things to women.
There are a lot of them, believe it or not.
I don't know.
I mean,
especially in like rock industry and shit like that.
There's debauchery, and then there's being deplorable.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
Throwing. Even ICP likes to do weird shit to bitches.
I guarantee you they all have consent forms. There's probably a consent form to step
Let
foot
me
on that
throw
bus.
baloney at you, bitch.
There's probably a consent form to get on the bus.
Me check off in your ear hole.
That's weird.
That is weird. But,
that's really weird. I imagine you can get some kind of a clog that way.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, one of them is a pedophile. I mean, I could go on. I could
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly exists.
Yeah, and he's trapped in a closet in the bathroom.
I have a trapped in the closet poster in the bathroom that Devin won't leave me alone about.
It's true. I've seen it.
It's been there for a long time.
It's all like, fuck pedophiles. But here's my R. Kelly poster.
Yeah.
Because it's not about R. Kelly.
Because he wants to pee on you, Robbie.
It's not about R. Kelly. It's about the fucking
he doesn't want to
trapped
pee on
in the
Robbie.
cabin.
He's too old to pee on.
This is true.
Oh, there's an
he
age
married
cutoff.
Aaliyah when she was 15.
What?
He's been doing awful things forever.
Aight then.
I mean,
you know, I don't know. Like, there's things like
where
that.
Aaliyah started.
I mean, Gucci Mane murdered somebody.
Well, yeah.
Well, he didn't murder them. It was self-defense. He was getting robbed and beaten, and he shot somebody.
He's a murderer. He doesn't
That
promote
doesn't
violence.
make you a murderer.
That doesn't.
That makes you a self-defender.
That's true.
All right, well, whatever. I mean,
walking up and just boom, blowing somebody's brains out. That makes you a murderer.
Premeditating some shit, drawing out some maps, some plans, getting some times and dates and shit. That's murder. Yeah.
I mean, we could go on about this forever, but yeah. Basically, going back to the core concept, we here at GPCC TV vape a lot. No, but for real, cancel culture is bullshit. If somebody's done something wrong and people are saying they've done something wrong, don't immediately assume the worst.
We're not saying don't confront people about shit.
I'm not saying that, let people slide. What I'm saying is get all the facts before you attack someone.
That's it. At least let somebody tell their damn side of the story, huh?
Yeah, I mean, don't tequila, motherfucker.
There are two sides to every story.
I wonder what the other side of that story was. She must have said some stupid shit on stage.
There's no telling her. You ever listen to her talk?
Yeah, that's Tila Tequila. This is GPCC TV. But
Let's talk about the second stories.
Yeah, we could go on all night about, we could play devil's advocate, and we could literally make this like a fucking 4-hour episode, but we don't want to bore you. So
this ain't gonna be no 4-hour episode. People go to sleep.
Exactly. So what we're gonna do is we're each gonna give our final thought on the topic, and then we're gonna peace out. So Curtis.
Yeah. The whole idea of just cutting somebody off immediately without, it depends on the level of what they've done, obviously. And that's a personal decision, like Devin was talking about protests and whatnot. But it's when people gang up in this mob circuit to just cut somebody out of social.
Well, I mean, when you go ruining someone's life over a fucking rumor.
Yeah, because some people take it to extremes, like calling people's bosses and
doxing people and going to their houses and shit. Devin?
Yeah.
Should I cut Curtis off?
I think it's gay. Not gay, it said homosexual. I have nothing that's wrong with gay people, but I think it's lame to just be like, well, I heard this story about this guy and I think he's a bad guy, so we'll spread this rumor out without researching it. At least do some research before you cancel somebody.
Well, first of all, I'm definitely the most mouthy out of the three of us, so I'm going to say this. If you think you have the right to destroy someone's personal lives, you're in the wrong, and you probably deserve to be canceled. Someone's private life is just that. It's their private life. If you don't like them professionally, it's fine. Stop supporting their work. But destroying people's personal lives and attacking them and stalking them just makes you as wrong as they are. I don't condone doxing. I don't think anybody should be doxed. I don't know where the term comes from, but I think it's kind of a dumb term. But you don't like somebody on the internet, so you trace their home address and their workplace and their lives and their families and harassing people's parents and spouses and children, and that's not the way to handle things. If they've done something wrong or illegal, I assure you that it will be dealt with. And things like pedophilia and serious crimes of such will definitely be dealt with. I mean, I can promise you that. And no, you shouldn't just let it go and not bat an eye. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, before you raise your pitchforks and torches, you should probably look into it a little. Nobody likes apologizing. I mean, and why be wrong because a mob told you to be?
Right.
I mean, I equated canceling people to the Salem witch hunt earlier, and I can't think of a better metaphor for it. It's the modern day witch hunt. And I mean, I'm just a guy with an opinion in a fucking dark room with some candles.
Spooky guy with an opinion.
We're just that. We're just
retarded people.
We're just, people giving our opinions and talking about art and life on the internet. I think that's going to cover it for this episode, Cringe Crew. You got 2 more episodes until the season finale. We'll see you next time.